Welcome to Week in Geek, your new comics preview for November 14th. I'm Mike Ortiz.
I'm Chris Brown.
What do you got?
Well, I'm going to start off here with some Valiant titles. I've really been enjoying these. I've got Archer and Armstrong #4. This has been a really fun book. They're going after the extra piece. I believe the fulcrum is what they need there, so they've got to go find that in this mountain retreat with these monks and whatnot. So it should be pretty cool. It's been really, really fun. I like how they've given them a little adventure that's going to set them up to where they sort of need to be. The old Valiant issues, were like, comics then. They just dropped you off right in the middle. Now it's sort of this decompressed storytelling, getting you somewhere. You get a first story arc to really tell you their origin and what's going on. And that's what's been going on here. And I like watching how they're slowly becoming friends here, and it's pretty cool. Then I've got Bloodshot #5. This is, unlike some of the other books, this is more of a, an action-y kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the other ones don't have action, but this is more mercenary, guns and bullets and that sort of stuff. The art is really fantastic. Really, really good stuff. This should be slowly wrapping up our story arc, I believe. Let's see what we got here. Looks like a preview to something else. So it's either this is the end or the beginning. To be continued. So the next one's
probably 6 issues.
Yeah,
pretty standard these days.
Yeah, Yep, indeed. So then I've got then I'm looking at Gambit #5 by Marvel. I've been liking this book. I think it's been pretty fun. It's not like old '90s Gambit, but it is kind of it's fun, thievery, and that sort of stuff. I am an issue behind. I've got to get caught up on last issue so I can get caught up on this one. But I do like it. I've been enjoying it so far, and it doesn't seem so reliant on all the other stuff that Marvel's doing right now. And a lot of their other titles have been that way. Then we're going to go over to little DC here, little He-Man and the Master of the Universe #4. This book's been fun. I was really looking forward to a He-Man book by James Robinson, and apparently he couldn't do the workload, so he did the first issue. And Keith Giffen has stepped in. Keith Giffen's good like that. Yeah. He'll crank it out quick for you. But Skeletor essentially has done something to Prince Adam's mind, and he's taken over, and He-Man doesn't seem to remember who he is. So that's been the arc so far. It's been pretty cool. I've been digging it. Then we've got Hoax Hunters, issue 5. This is by Michael Morrissey and Steve Seeley. This, I believe, we've pretty much got like a new story arc here. Okay. This is, I started reading this thing last night. Kind of, definitely, the previous story arc was dealing with the voodoo guy in the small town. And now I'm trying to remember what was going on with this woman. There's something going on where it's almost like what was it, Dreamcatcher or one of those Stephen King things where something happened in the kid's past and someone's coming back now, or it even. It's like every Stephen King book currently. Apparently, they're going that route. But pretty interesting. They're using their cryptozoological kind of creatures and whatnot. Apparently, a little girl had some interaction with some kind of monster when she was a kid, and now, it's kind of coming around. Cool stuff, though. I like it. Then we've got Invincible #97. This book has been solid. They're pushing us towards issue 100. We pretty much got past our previous story arc where what was going on in the alternate dimension with Robot and Monster Girl, and now I really think the new Invincible is going to die. That's I don't want to necessarily spoil anybody's fun, but I don't know. I'm just speculating the same as anything else, but they're building a strong character. His parents think he's not doing anything with his life. They think his brother, who was a supervillain, was the hero who died saving everyone, even though he's the one who had to stop him, and he's keeping this all secret. He's going to die a hero's death. I'm certain of it, but it's been really, really, really fun to see how it's playing out. Then we got one of these Image #1s here. We had Great Pacific #1. This book had a lot of ballyhoo around it, a lot of people talking about it leading up to it. As so many of these things, and it's kind of weird to me how some Image books, sight unseen, get all the attention, even though nobody's read it or know anything about it other than the premise, and other ones don't get paid attention to at all. Yeah. This is one that's getting a lot of attention. It's already sold out at the distributor level. They've already announced a second printing that's going to come out the same day as issue 2. I have read it. I had a chance to read it last night. It's pretty good. It's very, it's got a sort of ecological thing behind it. It's kind of a rich guy who's trying to save the world of the future where, there's all kinds of trash and things going on. I mean, he's got a device where, you can turn oil into water, but of course they're not interested in it because of the cost versus, seeing the effects right now well, they don't see it. They'd rather just cause a bunch of pollution and worry about it after the fact. So something happens with this guy, and he's going to try and, again, save the world in some regard, and apparently he's going to go live on a garbage island. Then Peter Panzerfaust, number 7. I really like this book. Last issue was really, really good. It's not even just a Peter Pan thing. If you like Peter Pan, sure, okay, that's cool. It's so much better than that. It's a really fun World War II adventure with, sort of models of characters you're familiar with. If you're a Peter Pan fan, you recognize some of these guys, but it's not like so many other things where you'll see, oh, well, it's this set in this time period. Curtis Weeb's doing better than that. He's doing a lot better than that. He just sort of took an idea and telling his own story, really. I don't feel like it's bogged down with Peter Pan nonsense, as so many of these, revisionist things will do. I'm not feeling it from that. Then I've got Saucer Country, number 9. This is just a really good Vertigo book. I like the whole, the governor of New Mexico running for president, but she's involved in this whole alien thing, and there's a deeper conspiracy, and is that a werewolf? Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Saucer Country has been a really, really cool book, and I dig this one. Then we've got Team 7, number 2. How it is that I'm enjoying a Team 7 book, I have no idea, but I do. I like it. I was looking for something to fill that void of that 90s stuff for me, and I felt like a lot of the other things weren't really doing it. But this one somehow works. It's a nice mixture of the DC characters and, the Wildstorm. Looks like, is that Eclipso? Is that going to be a modern Eclipso?
Yeah, I think so.
So that should be cool. That's kind of fun. If you liked that sort of stuff, that 90s stuff, if you like Deathstroke and some of the things that are going on now, you should be reading Team 7. It's a fun one. Thief of Thieves, number 10. This is by Robert Kirkman and James Asmus. This is the same guy that's writing Gambit, so he's very much writing a lot of thievery stuff right now. I believe he picked up with, this is maybe the second or third part of this. It's been pretty good. This whole story's been really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to the TV show because it has very much that feeling. Yeah. It's going to make a great, weekly drama, I think, about thieves and a larger plot and just that as I always compare it to a 70s heist movie, and that's what it feels like to me, and I dig that. Then I've got Thor, God of Thunder, number 1. This is by Jason Aaron with art by Esad Ribic. The art looks great. Yet another take on Thor. I kind of lost my attention when Matt Fraction took over Thor. It just wasn't really my thing so much, but I really want to like Thor. So it's a new Thor number 1. Why wouldn't I read it? And that takes me through the bulk of my stack.
My turn?
It's your turn.
I'm going to start off with Wolverine and the X-Men number 20, again by Jason Aaron. At the end of Avengers vs. X-Men, now we've got mutants popping up again. And it looks like the Jean Grey School is out recruiting. Okay. So, there's new mutants popping up. They got a place to go now. This features Angel and Mystique, and it looks like they're out finding some of these new mutants. And it looks like
Street Sharks.
Looks like a group of bad guys are also out looking for some mutants. It's hard to tell. Is this going to be a new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants? Is it the Hellfire Club? Doesn't look like the one guy looks like he might be from the Hellfire Club, but the rest look like they're actual mutants. It looks like Sauron's in there. So yeah, when there is a school for good mutants, there is inevitably a school for bad mutants too.
Especially when you put all the mutants back.
Yeah, so
put them all back in the toy box.
So yeah, that again, Jason Aaron's been doing a good job with this. It's a light, fun teenage mutant book. Next up, Think Tank number 4. In this one, I mentioned before, this guy works for a government think tank creating weapons. He gets a guilt trip, decides he doesn't want to do that anymore, but the government's not too fond of this because they, invested a lot of time and money in this guy. So basically now he has got to escape from his captivity with the government, and of course he's a super smart guy, so he's probably going to get away. But it is the government, so they're probably going to find him. And this is to be continued. It was originally, I think, just going to be a 4-issue series, but it's done well, so they're going to continue it. Probably that series of miniseries that Image does pretty well. So yeah, it's a pretty good idea. An interesting premise. It's almost like a more serious take on Real Genius. from some years back.
The Real Genius wasn't a serious take?
Well, that was funny. But
I believe all that could happen.
I believe
I want to fill somebody's house with popcorn.
Yeah, there's no popcorn in here.
Oh, that's a damn
there's
shame.
No popcorn.
Anybody living in the closet?
No. A lot of snipers, though, trying to kill this dude. So it's a little bit... it's not always a great thing to be too smart. Next up, Star Trek Next Generation Doctor Who crossover. This has really been a lot of fun. You know, I've mentioned every month that this is just a great way to get some Doctor Who and some Star Trek, something you're not going to see ever happen in real life. Real life, it's all fiction. They've basically decided to team up with the Borg because the Borg teamed up with the Cybermen. Then the Cybermen decided that they were going to kill the Borg too, and that's what happens. Bad guys always turn on each other. But in this particular issue, the Doctor and his companions go back in time to Wolf 359, which, if you're a Star Trek fan, you will know that was the Federation's first big battle with the Borg, back when Picard was actually part of the Borg collective. So yeah, this is actually kind of a major event in Star Trek history that the Doctor is going to go muck around with. So should be kind of fun. We'll see what happens out of that. Next up, the return of Saga. We've sung the praises of this so many times. Normally Saga winds up in the #1 slot, but it took a few months off, so I don't remember what's going on. Though I guess flipping through it, I could tell that our two main characters, at the end of the last issue, they went off into space in their spaceship made out of wood, and Marco's parents popped up.
Correct.
And it looks like this continues. Whenever the in-laws show up, you know it's going to be a lot of fun. They're still on the run. They're still being chased by the bounty hunters, and there is some very adult-oriented material in this one, too.
That's the only shot. Like, that's the only one. But, man, Fiona Staples just has fun getting dirty, apparently.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
And that's just gross. You thought Big Blue Dong in Watchmen was bad.
Yeah, oh, my goodness. So
this isn't a big dong.
Yeah, close.
There's some swinging going on.
But, this has been a great book, a great sci-fi fantasy book. The first story arc was really a lot of fun, one of the best comics out there.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that this one will be every bit as good. I've been looking forward to this.
It was a really good issue. Brian K. Vaughan is just so well at doing what he does. I mean, the first story arc, it's continuing, but you did feel like you got a nice arc out of it. Mm-hmm. You know, something happened at the end of that, when they lost their babysitter, let's say. Well, Marco's now going to try and see if he can find her and see what's going on. He's building things, but he's also working in arcs. And it was a great issue. It was really, really good. And some decent character development. I mean, he just brings in the in-laws, and right away, starting to have some fun there. I dug it. Very, very good issue. Glad to have it back.
Next up is Punk Rock Jesus #5. This is 5 of 6, so next issue is the last issue. I finally did get caught up on this. This is a great book. It's funny. They've announced recently that Hellblazer is getting canceled. We've talked about many times how it's the highest numbered book. It's actually Constantine is going to be joining the DC universe.
Yep.
Alongside Animal Man and Swamp Thing and Justice League Dark and all of those books. So a lot of people have been really upset at the loss of Hellblazer, and a lot of people are predicting that this is just kind of like the beginning of the end of Vertigo. Not when you got books like this.
Right.
Pretty much all. If you think you're going to miss out on all the dark, twisted blasphemy and religion from Hellblazer, it's here. This is the stuff that's the successor to that. So while I'll be sad to see Hellblazer go, Vertigo is publishing things like this and Saucer Country and American Vampire. It's not going anywhere.
There's still some great titles.
Yeah.
They just, for whatever reason, decided to make that move.
Yeah, I don't blame them. And this is just so this is fantastic. I mean, this is every bit as good as Hellblazer ever was. Our cloned Jesus is now a spiked mohawk wearing frontman for a punk band.
Yes,
hence the Punk Rock Jesus. And he's running around the country speaking some blasphemy. And this is really
was
a great
he floating
book.
at the end of last one?
I couldn't tell if he was floating or if he was in the middle of a stage dive or something.
Yeah.
So we don't know if so far any supernatural powers have failed to manifest because last issue, I don't know if it was last issue or the issue before.
But I don't think he's the Messiah. It's his twin sister.
He tried to walk on water and almost drowned.
Yes.
And so far they don't know that the female in here is the the sister that they think is dead.
Right.
So I'm sure sometime between now and then she's going to wind up resurrecting somebody. Probably him. Because he thinks he's the Messiah.
Yes, well, that's what he's been told.
But yeah, this is great stuff. It's great religious and political and media satire. It's a little preachy, which is, I think, very appropriate for a book about punk rock Jesus. But really, it's a lot of fun, and it's some of the best artwork out there. You know, this is a black and white book where it's like I would not want to see this.
No, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, some books, a lot of books, color. Even things like Scott Pilgrim, you add color to it and bone. Yep. They actually, I think, do look a little better. It's like, no, this is gorgeous black and white, and it has to stay that way. And it's on great paper.
Yeah, which is nice.
Next up, Green Lantern Corps number 14. This is continuing the rise of the Third Army. All of these are kind of blending together, so I don't know which elements of the story are Green Lantern, which are Green Lantern Corps, which are New Guardians. But that's kind of how they've been telling stories in the Green Lantern books for a while. But this one focuses on Green Lantern and John Stewart. A character from John Stewart's past who is now kind of firmly embedded in the multicolored lantern shows up, and a big change in Guy Gardner's life. I won't say any more than that, but yeah, this is continuing the fight against the weird lantern zombies.
Awesome.
Yeah. Next up, Green Lantern animated series. These are all one and done-ish stories, so you don't really need to read the previous one, so there's not really much of an arc. It's still set out in the rim sections, like during season 1, on the spaceship on the Interceptor, where they've got the Red Lantern on board, and they're basically just going around addressing the threat of the Red Lanterns, which was wrapped up in season 1. But it's like every month they go, they find a new planet, they have a new adventure, and this one, Hal's dressed all in blue, and he's got some funky wings. So it's all kid friendly, but still very adult appropriate too. Just fun stuff. I mean, this is really classic, old fashioned comic books. The opposite of classic, old fashioned comic books is Batman. This is some dark, grim stuff.
Yes.
This was the last issue. This is the death of the family. The Joker makes his triumphant and relatively twisted return to the DC universe.
Return, yes.
Last issue was tense and scary and creepy in a way that few comics have ever been, and I'm sure this is going to continue it. Scott Snyder is doing a fantastic job. Greg Capullo is also doing a fantastic job on the artwork. I mean, this is a moody, creepy book. I'm not a big fan of this new look Joker, because I always kind of liked the fact that he was scary, not because he looked scary. He was scary because he was a crazy clown.
Yes.
But nonetheless, this kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre Joker is freaky, freaky stuff.
Yes.
And this is a great book. I mean, if you're not picking it up, you should. You can just start with last issue. You don't necessarily need the other stuff. Everything is sort of explained. And if you love the Joker, as most people do, if you loved The Dark Knight, pick this up, because this is great stuff. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man. This is number 697, Danger Zone 3 of 3. We've got 2 hobgoblins running around. That can't be good for Spider-Man.
Right.
So they're fighting it out. They're fighting it out to see who gets to be the real hobgoblin, while they're also both trying to kill Spider-Man and Max from Horizon Labs. We're marching towards issue 700. I guess next issue is
some huge
is a big deal. Dr. Octopus is here on the last page, and I'm not going to say what he says, but so there's some kind of spoilers going on. But yeah, and it also looks like we're setting up an interesting new status quo for the Hobgoblin and some of the other Spider-Man villains that I'm sure is going to play out over the next few issues and well into the Superior Spider-Man book. Next up, we've got All New X-Men number 1. This is a new Marvel Now book. This is Brian Michael Bendis takes a shot at the X-Men. The premise of this book has been known for a while. It's basically the original 5 X-Men. Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Angel, Beast, and Iceman are plucked from the past into the present to see how horrible everything has gone, and that their youthful dream has died. That sounds like a really depressing story, a really depressing premise.
Yes.
So I'm really curious to see where they go with this. So yeah, everything's kind of falling apart in the X-Men world, and they have to kind of go back in time to their earlier selves to find some sort of light in this darkness. Bendis is good with character stuff, and this seems like a very character-heavy book, so I'm definitely on board. So that's my stack.
All right, I guess that takes me to the top of mine here. This is It Comes Right Back. Everyone was wondering the last couple it wasn't up there. So I'm looking at Walking Dead number 104. They're building a great villain in Negan. Everybody talks about what a great villain the governor was, and he was great, and he's going to be a great villain here on the show. Negan is just evil, nasty, but there's something in his cockiness. He's going to be fun, and I hope he sticks around for a little while. There's some things that happen in this one that certainly going to push us forward toward our the rest of our story. I mean, something could go bad here, but I really kind of dug it. And again, Negan has some great dialogue. Kirkman must be really having fun with him. Rick's plan hasn't completely gone off the rails yet, but of course, when you don't tell everybody your plan, there's some shit that's going to run afoul because people aren't going to be following your plan. Walking Dead 104, really, really good issue. It sort of leaves you, though. I mean, I read it pretty quickly, and by the end I was like, well, come on. So, yeah, good stuff. Walking Dead 104.
My top pick, the book that I'm really most excited for is Fantastic Four #1. It's another Marvel Now book. Matt Fraction and Mark Bagley now take over the book. Jonathan Hickman really left an indelible mark on this book, on these characters. So I'm really curious to see where they're going to go with it from here. I don't envy anybody having to follow that up, but Matt Fraction gets a lot of crap, mostly for Fear itself. But, we forget that he's done really great kind of high-tech stuff in Iron Man, and really great cosmic stuff in Thor, and really great kind of small personal stuff that he's doing right now in Hawkeye. And all of those things are elements of a great Fantastic Four book. So this could be great. I love Mark Bagley's artwork.
Yes.
One of the things that as much as I loved Hickman's book, one of the things that was kind of missing from it that's been in some Fantastic Four stuff in the past is kind of a real fun superhero-ish vibe. And that's pretty much what Bagley draws. I mean, that's a classic, straight-up superhero books. The artwork on the Fantastic Four, at least Dale Eaglesham and then Steve Epting at the end were great. Epting does a very grounded, real sort of thing.
Yes.
This is definitely going to be a much more kind of light, fun, cosmic-looking book. And I think Fraction has the ability to deliver a great story. If this is basically the Matt Fraction that we get on stuff like Casanova, kind of reined into the Marvel Universe with a real superhero vibe, that could be amazing.
Yes.
So we'll see. I mean, my hopes are very high because I love the Fantastic Four. I have probably more issues of the Fantastic Four than any other comic. It was the first comic book I ever got into. And I'm always excited when we've got a new kind of revitalized team going on with new costumes. So
somewhere
we'll see.
in between the regular and the FF ones.
They're white and black. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I always hope that we're going to get a Fantastic Four that lives up to the world's greatest comic magazine. We have for 3 years.
Yeah. So
let's see if we can get a few more out of Matt Fraction and Mark Bagley, and then we got an FF #1 on the horizon. So that's my top pick.
Awesome. Well, with that is your Week in Geek.